If there is life elsewhere in the solar system, it is not hiding in fire or light or air. It is hiding in darkness so complete that even the concept of sunrise becomes meaningless. Beneath a shell of ice orbiting Jupiter, there exists a place where oceans do not meet skies, where water has been locked away longer than humanity has existed, and where silence is not emptiness, but isolation perfected over billions of years. Europa is not just another moon. It is a sealed question that has never once been answered. What makes it more unsettling is not what we know, but what we can already prove. A global ocean, larger than all of Earth's seas combined, is trapped beneath ice that may be miles thick. And yet, nothing from that ocean has ever been seen directly. No light has ever entered it. No surface wind has ever disturbed it. It exists in a state of permanent hiddenness, as if the universe itself decided to bury it alive and leave it untouched. But Europa is not peaceful. It is constantly being torn apart. Jupiter looms above it like a relentless god, and its gravity does not simply hold Europa in orbit. It stretches it, compresses it, releases it. Every orbit becomes a cycle of planetary stress, as if the moon is being kneaded by invisible hands. This tidal flexing generates heat deep within its interior, preventing the ocean below from freezing solid. A world that should have become an ice block billions of years ago remains alive in a mechanical sense, not because of sunlight, but because of gravitational violence. And Jupiter does not stop there. It surrounds Europa in a magnetosphere so powerful it would kill a human instantly. High-energy radiation constantly bombards the surface, breaking molecules apart, altering chemistry, and painting the ice with toxic particles. The surface of Europa is not just cold. It is actively hostile, a place where unshielded electronics degrade, and where radiation dosage would be lethal within hours. In a strange twist of planetary engineering, that same radiation is what makes the ice crust so important. It becomes a protective shell, sealing the ocean beneath from a universe that tries to destroy everything exposed to it. From orbit, Europa's surface looks fractured, as if something beneath it is trying to escape. Long, dark streaks cut across the white plains. Rust-colored stains spread in chaotic patterns. Scientists call it chaos terrain, but the name feels almost too calm for what it represents. These are regions where the ice appears broken, rotated, and refrozen into disordered blocks, as if entire sections of the crust have collapsed and reassembled themselves. Beneath this chaos, researchers believe something even more unsettling may exist. Pockets of liquid water trapped inside the ice shell itself. These are not small reservoirs. Some models suggest subsurface lakes the size of large cities, suspended within the crust, slowly shifting under pressure. They are neither fully part of the ocean below, nor fully frozen into the shell above. They exist in a dangerous in-between state. If their supporting structures weaken, they could collapse downward or rupture upward, briefly connecting the hidden ocean with the surface before freezing again in seconds. It is a system held together not by stability, but by balance that is constantly failing and reforming. If you stood on Europa's surface, the first thing you would notice is not sound. It is the absence of it. No wind, no weather, no atmosphere thick enough to carry vibration. Only silence broken by the faint electrical hiss of Jupiter's radiation interacting with the environment. Above you, Jupiter would hang in the sky, massive and impossible, dominating half the horizon like an unblinking presence. And beneath your feet, the ocean would not be still. At the bottom of that hidden world, scientists suspect hydrothermal vents may be active. On Earth, similar systems exist in the deepest parts of our oceans, where sunlight never reaches, yet life thrives around volcanic heat and chemical energy. Entire ecosystems built without the sun. On Europa, that same process could exist in complete isolation, cut off from every known cycle of surface life. But here, there is no exchange with an atmosphere, no nutrient recycling from wind or rain. Everything must come from internal chemistry alone, sustained for billions of years without interruption. This creates a disturbing possibility. If life exists there, it would not evolve in bursts or seasons. It would evolve in continuous darkness, under constant pressure, with no extinction events triggered by climate or sunlight. A biology shaped entirely by stability and isolation. Something utterly unfamiliar to Earth. But even more unsettling is the alternative. Because Europa may not be rare in its ability to host life, it may be rare in its silence. If an ocean of this size, with this level of energy and chemistry, remains completely sterile, then life is not inevitable. It is fragile. A coincidence that requires far more precise conditions than we currently understand. NASA's Europa Clipper mission is designed to confront that uncertainty directly. The spacecraft will not land. It will not drill. Instead, it will perform a series of ultra-precise flybys, skimming just tens of kilometers above the surface at orbital speeds, so extreme that every pass becomes a high-risk encounter with an unknown world. It will study the thickness of the ice using radar that penetrates deep beneath the crust. It will analyze the chemistry of the surface to identify whether ocean material is reaching upward. And in its most daring moments, it may fly directly through water plumes erupting from Europa's surface. These plumes, if confirmed, would be ocean material shot into space at supersonic speeds. The spacecraft will attempt to taste them, sampling particles as they strike its instruments. Not land, not touch, but pass through a fragment of an alien sea moving faster than a bullet, hoping that a few molecules survive the journey intact. Every pass is a calculated gamble. Too close, and radiation or debris could damage the instruments. Too far, and the plume is missed entirely. There is no room for error, because each encounter may be the only chance humanity gets to directly sample another ocean without ever touching its surface. And what it finds will divide history into two irreversible possibilities. If signs of life are detected, even in the simplest chemical patterns, it would mean life is not Earth's accident. It is a cosmic outcome. It would imply that wherever conditions allow water, energy, and chemistry to persist, life eventually emerges. Earth would no longer be unique. It would be one example among many. But if Europa is silent, truly and completely silent, the conclusion is far more disturbing. It would mean that even in one of the most promising environments we can imagine, life did not begin. Not once. Not in billions of years. And if that is true, then Earth is not just rare. It may be statistically improbable. This is why Europa is not just a scientific target. It is a psychological threshold. Because humanity has always defined itself through the idea that somewhere out there, life must be possible again. Europa is where that belief will be tested without mercy. Every measurement, every scan, every fragment of data will push us closer to an answer we may not be prepared to accept. And still, the moon does not stop changing. The surface continues to crack and shift. The stains continue to spread, like messages written in a language we cannot decode. The ice continues to behave like something under pressure, as if the ocean below is constantly pressing upward, trying to communicate through a barrier that refuses to break. In the end, Europa is not asking whether life exists elsewhere. It is asking whether life was ever guaranteed at all. And when the final data returns from beneath that frozen shell, it will not simply expand our knowledge of the solar system. It will define whether we live in a universe filled with hidden oceans waiting to wake up? Or one where even the best possible worlds remain forever, perfectly empty?